Stunned into silence, stunned into submission, utterly befuddled. This is how Donald Trump and his team of lawyers and his entourage were described as looking after the morning recess concluded, with Michael Cohen testifying, and it went from bad to even worse for Donald Trump as Michael Cohen methodically went through each document, each phone record, each check, each text message, corroborating each and everything that he said. Ron Filipkowski, our editor-in-chief, explained that the district attorney's office on their direct examination of Michael Cohen is corroborating quite literally every single word Michael Cohen is testifying to with the documentary evidence like phone records, emails, and text. Pull that back up for 1 second as well. Michael Cohen is also explaining the reason why records showed him calling Donald Trump's bodyguard's phone, because it was actually Donald Trump using the phone of Keith Schiller. As you'll recall, Donald Trump showed up in court with an entourage comprised of MAGA Republican senators like J.D. Vance from Ohio. He also showed up with Tommy Tuberville from Alabama, and they were trying to act all confident, but for those who were in the court, they saw their confidence peel away on their face as Michael Cohen just ripped apart any of the attempted defenses that Donald Trump's trying to assert here. Now, look, let's be very clear. Cohen has not faced cross-examination yet, and we all thought that direct examination, like it's usually the case, would be one of the easier parts of this. But there were a lot of commentators saying that Cohen wasn't going to be able to hold it together and that Cohen was this and Cohen was that. But you all know from watching the MeidasTouch Network on Political Beatdown, that I co-host with Michael Cohen, Mea Culpa, which is here on the MeidasTouch Network, and Michael Cohen's other appearances on the network, that Michael Cohen is calm, he is confident, he's got his facts together because he lived it. And Michael Cohen's delivery is exactly what you would expect of someone who's telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And Michael Cohen is not cowering. He's not afraid to testify. Michael Cohen wants to tell the truth about everything that happened. Katie Fang is in the courtroom, and lots of people I spoke to echo exactly what Katie Fang says here about the direct testimony of Michael Cohen. Here's what Katie Fang says, but I've spoken to now about half a dozen people in the courtroom who all basically give a version of this. Here's what Katie Fang says. For those of you asking, Michael Cohen has been calm, thorough, detailed, and credible all day long. He has not rushed his testimony, and he has been very clear while answering questions. Cohen has been walking the jury through several exhibits that were already entered into evidence, adding more color to prior testimony provided by other witnesses. Thus far, excepting a few minor inconsistencies, the collective testimony has been consistent. And I think that is very important when you have all of this corroborating documentation, all of this corroborating testimony, all of this corroborating information. And there were times during the direct testimony as well that Cohen admitted that, look, I may have reacted this way because of my ego. I may be upset about this. And he accepted responsibility for his behavior as well during these key moments that are the relevant time period of this criminal case. Here was a very important moment during the testimony where Michael Cohen said that as this election was approaching in 2016, Donald Trump was very angry about the Stormy Daniels story. And Donald Trump said to him, quote, "I thought you had this under control. I thought you took care of this." To which Michael Cohen said, he replied that he did take care of it in 2011, but now it's resurfacing again in 2016. And that Trump said to Cohen, just take care of it. There's a lot going on at the campaign at the time. Just take care of it. Now, we know that Michael Cohen began working for Donald Trump in 2007. Cohen talks about helping Donald Trump with some reorganization and bankruptcy type issues, that Donald Trump then offered Michael Cohen a full-time job to work directly for the Trump organization, in lieu of, or in place of, Donald Trump actually paying Cohen's bill. So Cohen was making about $500,000 a year, $525,000, working for Donald Trump for about 10, 11 years. He worked for Donald Trump from 2007 through 2017. And Cohen detailed the specific tasks that Donald Trump gave him. And Cohen gave all of the specific details. Michael Cohen quoted Donald Trump as saying to him about the Stormy Daniels story potentially becoming public, quote, "This is a disaster. This is a total disaster. Women are going to hate me. Guys, they think it's cool." Cohen says he then broached the subject of Donald Trump's wife, Melania, by saying, "How are things going upstairs?" According to Cohen, Donald Trump replied, "Don't worry. How long do you think I'll be on the market for? Not long." Yet another time that Melania has been humiliated and embarrassed in this case, in this trial. What Michael Cohen says is that Donald Trump's sole focus was the 2016 election, and to also drag out any payments to Stormy Daniels, that Trump was trying to not pay Stormy Daniels the $130,000 even after they entered into the hush money deal, because Trump had told Cohen, after the election, it's not going to matter anyway. So just try to delay. But then what ended up happening was Stormy Daniels' lawyer, Keith Davidson, according to the testimony of Michael Cohen, said, "All right, the deal's off. We're going public with this right now. I have been advised by Stormy Daniels to make it very clear that we will be making this public, and we view the deal being off." To which point Cohen immediately went to Donald Trump, and then Trump spoke with the campaign team, and Trump basically went back to Cohen, and the instructions from Trump to Cohen were basically just take care of it. Like, just make the payment. You have nothing to worry about. Trump's a billionaire. Cohen, just make the payment, get rid of it, get this done. That's part of what Cohen testified today. We have text messages like this from Melania as well. On October 18th, 2016, Melania Trump texted Cohen, "Good morning, Michael. Can you please call DT," referring to Donald Trump, "on his cell?" Of course, Cohen quickly replied. DT, of course, meant Donald Trump. There are emails with Cohen and Keith Davidson. There are more emails. There's bank account information. There's text messages back and forth that Cohen is on. This is from our article at MeidasTouch.com by Ron Filipkowski, who also put together the reporting of people like Adam Klasfeld and Katie Fang and others who are in the courtroom. Here's how we describe it on MeidasTouch.com. The deal was negotiated with Stormy's attorney, Keith Davidson, by Howard, but then AMI by Howard Dillon. But then AMI was taken completely out of the loop because David Pecker didn't want them involved with payment, since Trump had already stiffed them on the Karen McDougal payment. Cohen agreed to pay Daniels $130,000 no later than October 14th. Cohen began to panic because he was told that Daniels was going to take her story to the Daily Mail. He called Trump and told him that was about to happen, since he didn't wire the money as agreed, and their plan to try and stall until after the election wasn't going to work. He said he left a voicemail because Trump didn't answer. Cohen then received a text message from Melania to call Trump, so he did. Trump told Cohen that he had been given advice by people in his campaign that they need to just pay the money to Stormy to kill the story. Trump told him to go talk to Weisselberg. Weisselberg suggested just have AMI pay for it, but Cohen told him they never got reimbursed for the other stories that they catch and killed, and weren't going to pay more to cover for Trump. Cohen suggested for Weisselberg to pay, but he said he couldn't because he had 4 grandchildren in prep schools. he was paying for. So Cohen decided to pay it out of his own pocket, and Trump assured him that he would be reimbursed. Cohen testified that there was no way he would have sent the money to Stormy Daniels without Trump's prior approval for two reasons. One, Trump insisted on personally approving everything. Two, Cohen wanted to make sure Trump was going to reimburse him. The call logs introduced as evidence then corroborated that Cohen had a 5-minute and 16-second conversation with Trump on October 28, 2016, the same time the money was wired to Daniels. The prosecution then went through the call logs to corroborate many calls that Cohen had with senior Trump aide Hope Hicks when the Wall Street Journal story broke that AMI had signed the NDA with Karen McDougal. Cohen said the reason for so many calls that day was to make sure all the campaign surrogates were on the same page as Pecker, Davidson, and Cohen on the talking points for their cover story. Cohen said he also was extremely upset with Pecker because he believed that he was the one who leaked the story about the NDA. The call logs also show many calls between Cohen and Pecker on that day. The prosecution then showed a lot of calls between Cohen and Trump's bodyguard, Keith Schiller, on the same day the Wall Street Journal story broke. Cohen explained that was because he was speaking to Trump, who was using Schiller's phone to cover up the fact that he was speaking to Cohen that day so many times. I want to share these observations with you as well from others in the courtroom. This is from CNN's reporter right here, retired judge from Queens County Supreme Court right here, Judge Grasso. Here's what he had to say. Play this clip.
He describes an angry Trump confronting him, saying, "I thought you took care of it. I thought you had this under control." And then Trump going on to say, according to Michael Cohen, this, meaning the Stormy Daniels scenario breaking, is a total disaster. Women will hate me. Guys will think it's cool. But this is going to be a disaster for the campaign. That's almost one of the last thing the jurors heard before the lunch break. And I can tell you, as I was keeping an eye on jurors and making my notes, they seem to me to be riveted by this testimony. This is so crucial because one of the main goals for the prosecution that Michael Cohen has is to establish a motive and intent directly on Donald Trump that would cause him to take the steps that ultimately led to the $130,000 payment and be involved and be knowledgeable about it. So to me, by far, Wolf, that was the most compelling testimony of the day.
So far he's been a strong witness for the prosecution. Is that your bottom line?
Absolutely. He comes across poised, cool, calm, and collected. When I saw the Trump team,
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say at the break, Trump came in with a huge entourage today, about 23 individuals, including Senator J.V. Vance, Senator Tom Tuberville. When they left at the break at about 11:30, that was one somber-looking group. That was my eye, and I was sitting right in the aisle seat. So I don't think they're all too pleased about what they're seeing so far.
And here's what Lawrence O'Donnell had to say. He's in the courtroom as well. Let's play this clip.
The Trump behavior as a defendant is the most absurd defendant behavior I've ever seen. First of all, there is the eye closing, which he now does about 10 minutes into the proceeding. And I think he's doing that to try to prove to us that he's actually not sleeping because it's only 9:40 a.m. But the eyes are closed for extended periods of time. The head starts to tilt. And then when he's not doing that, I actually saw him looking at photographs and I could see over his shoulder of what appeared to be crowds, possibly photographs of his rally this weekend, stuff completely unrelated to this case.
And there you have it, folks. We'll keep you posted as we learn more, but some stunning testimony. Cross-examination will likely begin at some point tomorrow. We'll keep you posted every step of the way. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe. It's free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let's get to 3 million subscribers together. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.